Hello everyone and welcome back to LewisFiction, and in today's video we are continuing the Spectacular Spider-Man Season 4. If you have not watched the rest of the episodes for Season 4, or if this is your first time watching the channel, then make sure to go back, watch Season 3, and then watch the first 3 episodes of Season 4 so you know where we're at with all of the characters, with all of the stories, so you're all caught up and then you can enjoy this episode. Make sure to subscribe. We've just hit 1,000 subscribers. Let's try and push for 2,000 subscribers. That would be absolutely awesome if we could do that this year. With that being said, enjoy the episode. Episode 4, Recuperation, Part 1. We kick our episode off with Peter Parker swinging through the city on a casual Saturday evening. He gets a call from Captain Stacy, and he'll pick up the phone. Stacy explains to him that they may potentially have a lead on the engineering lab raid all the way back from episode 1. Peter says that that's great and he'll meet with him soon when an explosion goes off behind him. Peter puts down the phone and frantically turns around to see a red figure in the distance. Peter swings down to it and lands facing the figure. His body slithers and crawls as he turned around. His face had sharp Spider-Man-like eyes. The figure spoke and says that they finally meet. Spider-Man looks bewildered. Eddie? He will remark. The figure looked like Venom, but a lot skinnier and partially red. He laughs and says no. The name is Carnage. Just before they could engage in battle, we cut away to 6 months earlier. This episode will primarily be focusing on Eddie Brock and Cletus Kasady and their characters. This will be a solo episode where we place Eddie Brock in the protagonist role of the episode, as I really want to focus in on what has been happening to this character since we last saw him in Season 2. We will follow Eddie as he is taken to Ravencroft for recuperation. And after standing trial, Eddie will have been deemed mentally ill, knowing that he needs to enter rehab. After being taken in and starting sessions, he will meet a doctor known as Doctor Kafka. Him and Dr. Kafka will become well acquainted and will become very close. Dr. Kafka will be successful with Eddie, and this portion of the episode will be showing us how far Eddie has come. He will no longer be fueled by his anger that the symbiote brought over him, and his hatred for Spider-Man and Peter Parker will have subsided. Kafka will be Eddie's best friend. Eddie will have made so much progress that Kafka would often tell Eddie that he'll be back to normal life in no time. However, occasionally during sessions, Eddie will see the man known as Cletus Kasady, who is another one of Dr. Kafka's patients. Cletus, however, is not anywhere near as empathetic or nowhere near as flexible emotionally as Eddie is. I personally think that Cletus's refusal to detach from his serial killer-like state will also provide a baseline for us to judge Eddie's transformation of character too, showing how far Eddie has come as a person since we last saw him in Season 2. We will then explore Cletus's character too. Not much about his backstory will be shown, but through the sessions that Cletus will have with Dr. Kafka and the conversations that he will engage with Eddie Brock, we will get hints that his past wasn't fruitful, and that he suffered a great deal of abuse from his father, and it will be heavily implied that he had to fend for himself growing up, which is part of the reason that he became such a monster. In a sly way, we will almost be forced to align ourselves with Cletus as well. But since this portion of the episode will primarily be focused from Eddie's perspective as the main character, Cletus will also be placed in an antagonistic role, where we do see the differences between Eddie and Cletus's character, as if there is some sort of moral and ethical divide between the two of them. Obviously, they are both there because they have done bad things. Cletus Kasady was a serial killer, and Eddie Brock, obviously, as we know from Season 2, did all of those horrible things as Venom. But we will definitely see that there is a moral and ethical divide between the two characters in the way that they act, the way that they talk, and the way that they approach relationships. We will then cut to a portion of the episode with the symbiote as it shows us what it was getting up to during the time jump. We will then see that it has taken some time to become stronger than ever, and will reproduce and create none other than the Carnage symbiote. The two stories will then collide when the Venom symbiote will relocate Eddie in Ravencroft, just as he was starting to get better. Eddie will see the symbiote and will cower in fear as to not bond with it again. Eddie says to stay away from him and to never come near him ever again. But like a moth to a flame, they will always meet. Eddie and the Venom symbiote bond once more, and Venom roars as he breaks out of his containment. Cletus sees this and his eyes light up. He asks how Eddie possessed this much power as he laughs. Venom says we will get revenge on Spider-Man as his old anger and emotions start flooding back. But then in the distance, another symbiote starts crawling towards them, red instead of fully black. Venom is confused until the symbiote informs Eddie that this is their offspring and that they know the perfect candidate to help destroy Spider-Man. Cletus laughs maniacally as the symbiote crawls in his direction and bonds with him, creating Carnage. They will both break out of Ravencroft. The whole facility goes on lockdown as Doctor Kafka sprints towards their cells, but they are both gone. As she spends some time scanning over Eddie's cell, she sheds a tear and vows to make sure to get him back, because he was doing so well. We then cut to the start of the episode, where Carnage is tearing things apart and testing out his new powers. Cletus is ecstatic, killing people left, right and center, or at least showing the intention to, since this is a kids show after all. Spider-Man then arrives on the scene, and the same interaction is played out again as shown at the start of the episode. They both engage in battle. Carnage is stronger than Venom in every way possible. Peter wasn't ready for this fight in the slightest. Carnage uses symbiote axes and a variety of other violent weapons to try and slice Spider-Man in half. All while this is going on, Carnage is trying to hurt civilians around him too. Although the Venom and Carnage symbiote's main goals are to destroy Spider-Man at all cost, Cletus's mentality provides an extra layer of danger and substance to his character and the threat that Carnage poses. The idea that Carnage is torn between two goals makes him all the more dangerous and unpredictable. His willingness to hurt others scares Peter, as he will experience through his fight with him. Most of the villains Peter has fought has had a slight sense of remorse to others, but not Carnage. Carnage has no humanity inside of him, and this will be shown through his actions. Carnage tears Peter's suit to shreds, battering him down. The fight will be violent, the fight will be tough. Peter starts to get the upper hand slightly though, proving his experience and will as Spider-Man 4 seasons in. But just when he thought he was getting to grips with the power of Carnage, Venom enters the scene and says hello Peter. Peter, in a torn costume, begrudgingly says Eddie through his gritted teeth. And that is where we end the episode, on that cliffhanger. This part 1 was essentially just to show Eddie's character and introduce us to the character of Cletus Kasady. I really wanted to focus a whole episode around the character of Eddie Brock to align the audience with him and to basically put us in the shoes of Eddie. Which means the next episode is really going to explore how Eddie gets on as he is Venom again, and how far Carnage is willing to go to cause destruction. And you aren't going to want to miss that, so make sure you're subscribed with the bell notification on so you do not miss the second part to this Carnage and Venom storyline. With that being said, make sure to like the video, and make sure to subscribe as well if you love Spider-Man stories and Spider-Man fanfictions. You can go subscribe to Lewis Films if you like video essays and discussions and commentaries on Spider-Man, and subscribe to Lewis News if you love all types of Spider-Man news. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys on Thursday for What If Aaron Davis Lived in Into the Spider-Verse. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care and peace.